Good morning. This is Bill from Europa, Naples, and today I have this fantastic Mercedes. This is a 2005 Mercedes-Benz S55. What a beautiful morning, by the way. The birds are chirping. It's kind of cool outside. There's no humidity in the air. Sun is only just coming up. This is just a fantastic way to start the day. And frankly, this car makes it better because I've been out tormenting traffic in this thing. As I can't help it. I'm sorry. It's, we need to get more Priuses in or something before I lose my license. But anyway, this S55 is an incredible piece. Every once in a while, Mercedes-Benz just sticks it to BMW, and that's what they did with this car when it came out. BMW is sort of a newcomer, if you will. I think they've only been around like 7 decades, maybe 8. Mercedes has been around a bit longer, and they do like to let BMW know that. But they've also got another sort of awkward relationship where Mercedes is a bit more of the adult in the family. You're more likely to see an S-Class parked outside an Embassy and a 7 Series parked outside a luxury casino. The BMWs are a little bit more playful. That said, Mercedes saw an opportunity with their big sedan to really stick it to BMW, and they really, really did. There was no 7 Series equivalent of this car when it came out, nothing even close. What Mercedes did is took their regal, lovely S-Class, again, this is a W220 chassis car, came out in about 2000, and they stuffed a 493 horsepower Roots blower supercharged V8 under the hood and made it absolutely insane, thanks to the guys at AMG. Every once in a while they do let those guys out to play. You can see it's a fairly unassuming car. It does have a lower rocker panel there. It's got a little bit of bumper treatments. It's got these twin spoke 5-star AMG alloys, but all in all, well, here's a big Q. It's got pretty incredible looking 4 pipes coming out the back. Otherwise, it just looks like that sort of sedate luxury that the chairman of the board is going to be driving around. Well, it's that funny looking badge on the side, except for that, okay, the V8 compressor badge. But up front, you start to see little styling cues. Like if you look under the wheels, you're going to see 14.2-inch vented rotors with 8 piston calipers. What those things will do is throw you through the front windshield if you need to stop in a hurry. Thank God for seatbelt pretensioners. It has 13-inch rotors in the back. I think those are 4 or 6 piston. But it starts to give you a clue of what's underneath the rather attractive sheet metal of this car. And that is a serious muscle car that's going to blow the doors just about off anything you come across. I mean, it really takes people by surprise. They're just simply not expecting it. Let's start inside the trunk. And there is absolutely nothing performance-oriented about the trunk. Okay, it's, not the biggest trunk for a giant car. I don't know why that is. Probably the gas tank's up there somewhere. I mean, it's adequate. You're going to get what you need in there, golf clubs, suitcases and stuff. It still has this little safety net here, which is nice. Safety net, I don't know. That's if you need to move some sort of cargo around. But otherwise, it's a useful enough trunk that is going to cover what you need. All right, there it is. Least exciting part of the car. I like that little handle that shoots out that lets you pull it down, and then in a second it's going to suck it back in. Let's wait for it. Come on now. There it goes. I love all the little engineering touches on these cars. Okay, under here, under the hood, is where the magic is going to happen. Now, AMG takes that 5-liter V8, they bumped it up to 5.5 liters, and again put a big Roots-style belt-driven blower on it. It's liquid cool. It injects super cool air into the intake and just rockets this thing to 493 horsepower, 24 valves, plenty of cams, all the good stuff. The thing's an absolute monster. They're so proud of it. Every AMG guy signs it on a little badge, which is kind of neat. I don't think that one says Betty Rodriguez, but anyway, I'm sure it's some guy who really cares about what he's doing. So anyway, that's the magic of this car right there, the heartbeat, what makes it absolutely roast the Mustang GT at the stoplight next to you. You see the big xenon headlights. This thing is still such an S-Class as well. It's, what a fantastic car. All right, let's have a look at the back. Okay, so back here, your Canadians are going to be very, very happy. They've got more legroom than you could use for Larry Bird. It wouldn't be a problem. 3 adults, they'll fit back there. You got headrests that pop up. You got a windscreen, or sorry, a sunscreen that can come up. And of course, it is an S-Class, so you get incredible fit and finish, lovely materials, everything just perfectly put together, tight, proper. You know, at its core, it's a Mercedes-Benz, and not just any Mercedes, but an S-Class, and they are the ones to beat. So, you know, very Teutonic. It's not going to overwhelm you with any kind of, you know, gadgetry or gimmickry. It's just well-made properness at its best, and everything really lovely back there. I see the soft closed door. Nice stuff. All right, so up front, we've got these big 14-way, 18-way, whatever the hell they are, power seats, all made out of beautiful Napa leather. You know, this is a great combo for this car, the silver outside with the black inside. It's a classic Mercedes scheme. Silver, of course, their signature color, and it really works well on this. You also have a big AMG chrome sill plate there in case anyone's wondering what's under the hood of this thing. You also get little AMG badges, you know, bolted into the seats. So very, very nice stuff, very supported, finest seats in the industry. You take an 8-hour trip in this thing, you're going to get out of it like you just drove somewhere for 15 minutes. Really comfy stuff. On the door panel, again, gorgeous fit and finish, lovely materials. Here's the controls for the seats. I mean, you can see how adjustable they are. You got cool seats, you got hot seats, folding mirrors, windows, everything just real nice there. We got a cat up a tree somewhere. All right, let's get in and fire it up. What do we got? Van Halen this morning. Oh, that's fine. Okay, I can live with that. All right, let's see. All right, so when you're in this thing with it running, you do, oh, for God's sake, all right. When you're running in this thing, you get this incredible, you know, V8 vibration that sort of belies what's under the hood. You know, it's a little bit different from your standard S-Class. It's still sedate enough to not, you know, trouble the passengers, but it gives you a hint of what's coming. You can see you've got sort of a sporty steering wheel here. It's got grippies at the 10 and 2. There's little plus and minuses because behind the steering wheel, you can't really see it, of course, there's little flippity paddles that you can manually shift this thing. You also get multi-function stuff for your radio and the different screens and whatnot that you can have on the instrument cluster. You have a very nicely laid out instrument cluster with the AMG logo on there, V8 compressor. You see a 200 mile an hour speedo. That is ambitious, but the thing will run at 160, which is going to take up, you know, about, I don't know, 6/7 of your speedometer. You see you got your water temp, your fuel, and of course the tack over there, very un-Porsche-like. It's just a little added tack for your own amusement. You got automatic headlights, you got headlight washers for the big xenons. You've got your little windscreen there, sunscreen in the back. You see that's deployed now. This will turn off the parking sensors. ABC Sport is a pretty fantastic suspension setup. In fact, we're going to hit that now. That's active body control. It came out right around the time this car did, you know, 2001. And what it is a fluid and air hydraulic dampening system on all of the different struts on the car. It does away with the need for sway bars and coilovers and that sort of thing. And it uses these little hydraulic, you know, electrical servos on top of each of the struts. It's super fast, so it, you know, takes road input every few milliseconds and adjusts the struts accordingly. It makes them stiffer or softer as needed. In sport mode, it can do away with like 93% of body roll, and in normal mode, about 68%. So, you know, even when you're in a hard corner in this thing, it's going to behave a lot like a, you know, like a full-on race car. And the nice thing about it is, because it's so adjustable, you know, when you're just looking for comfort cruising, try doing that in a race car. It just loosens the shocks up hugely, soaks up the bumps, and gives it a very luxurious ride. So really fast, you know, fantastic suspension for Mercedes. Because it's also hydraulic, you do get ride height adjustments. So if you've got to clear, you know, giant obstacles in the road, you hit that once, you get a little bit of height, You hit it twice, and this thing is going to be skied like Bigfoot. Let me walk outside and show you that. And look at that. Also, we got tons of air in the wheel well. If you need to get over any big obstacles, no problem. But high cars do not, need to get that going, right? Okay, high cars do not, act sporty. So let's get that back down to where it needs to be. Over here, you've got your lock and unlock. You've got your electronic stability program. That's traction control. If you want to turn that off, you can light up the rear tires. If your rear headrests are up, this thing will lower them. And this guy turns off the motion sensor if the car's getting towed, God forbid. Over here, you have Mercedes-Benz command unit with navigation. It's an 05, so it's good enough, but you're probably going to want to use your phone instead. But it does give you, varying sorts of stuff. So let's see if we eject. There's our CD. Let's forget that for a minute. And what else do we have? Whatever. There's a cassette in here somewhere, I think. Let's say eject. There is a tape. Let's see where that goes. From the top. So if you want to put a cassette in, you get that. Down here, you've got climate control. Nice stuff. Again, it is an S-Class, so you get all the amenities and features as such. Down here, your shifter, lovely little simple thing with black leather. You got manual shifting, comfort or sport. You can have touch shifting this way. You pound it through the gears. You see them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also just be in drive, and you can also, of course, paddle shift with these guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus, plus. Pretty neat stuff. All right, let's go for a spin. I don't know, is there more? Okay, yeah, self-dimming mirror, home link, sunroof, all the stuff you get in an S. I even like those little sun visors inside the headliner sun visor, makeup mirror, so your rear passengers can make sure they look proper. Man, that does have a menacing growl. And then you've got that hood star leading the way. Of course, the stars point to each thing that Mercedes-Benz is going to dominate, land, sea, and air. And I feel like it's this car they had in mind when they came up with that logo. All right, so anyway, we're just cruising along quite nicely. We're ensconced in our beautiful leather Lazy Boys, which are, of course, much more supportive, but still have the same level of comfort. And we're just good citizens, probably on our way to a board meeting. We're going to do some sort of acquisition of a company, put everybody out of business, laugh all the way to the bank. Sounds like good fun. But let's say that you want to, pick up the steam a little bit, and you're maybe a bit of a sporting guy. So let's make sure we're over there in sport. We are. We've got our traction control off. And even with the air on, we're just going to hammer it a little bit. Okay, so instant sideways maneuver there, and of course the traction control does kick in because the German nannies, they never do let you have all your fun. So if they really think you're losing it, they're going to kick the traction control back on and, bring you back to reality. But otherwise, man, what a great way to have fun in your rather sedate-looking sleeper S-Class. Let this van go. All right, with traction on, let me give it a little bit of a... Okay, so that is not your standard S-Class, not even close. That's 0 to 60 in about 4.6 seconds, quarter mile time, right around, 13.5 or something. This thing hauls ass and is so much fun to drive. This one is it's a one-owner, 47,000 mile car. It was maintained by a guy who was some kind of lunatic. I'll give you a quick story about the maintenance he gave this thing. These cars all have this double pane glass on the windows to keep the noise down and, much more insulated inside, but they're famous for separating up at the tops. Right up here, you can usually see this weird little purple thing. It's always hidden by the weather strip, but you can usually see it there. Well, you don't on this one because it bothered this guy so much. He bought $8,000 worth of double-paned new glass from Mercedes and had them installed. So this was a real nut who kept this car going. Nobody has ever done that. And nobody ever would, but this guy did. So anyway, this is the one to have. If you have an interest, give us a call, 239-649-7300, on the web at mercedesexpert.com. Thank you so much for having a look. We really appreciate it. We'll see you with the next one. Take care.